Good morning, students. Today we will learn to draw the structure of a flower. So let us start with it. So firstly we will draw the carpel. So carpel is the female part of the plant, of the flower, and it is present in the center of the flower like this, right? This is the female part. Now let us draw the thalamus below it. Thalamus, or the receptacle on which all other parts of a flower are born. So this is thalamus and the pedicel. Now let us draw the petals. Petals are the colored part of a flower. So these are the petals. Right. Now let us draw the sepals. Sepals are the green colored leaf-like structures in a flower. Like this, you must have seen. Right? Okay. Now let us make the stamens. So stamens, these are the male parts of the flower. So this way you can make it. Right. Now let us start labeling. So this is the stalk of the flower, which is called the pedicel. This is the thalamus, or the receptacle. Thalamus is a rounded, swollen structure on which all other parts of a flower, the floral structures, are born. Right? This green colored part, which is present at the base of the flower, is called the sepal. Sepal or sepals, these sepals are in the bud stage. When the flower is in the bud stage, it is protecting the flower. Right? These sepals are present at the base of the flower, and these are green in color. Otherwise, they can also perform photosynthesis because they are having chlorophyll in it. They are green in color, right? Okay. Then this is the colored part of the flower, which is called the petal. Petals are to attract the insects for pollination. Their function is to attract the insects because they are colorful, brightly colored. So insects get attracted toward the flower and they cause pollination. Now let us label this male part of the flower. Now you can see this is the upper swollen part. This is called the anther. And the stalk of this stamen is called the filament. Anther and filament, both of these together, they are forming the stamen. Okay. Now let us label the female part of the plant. That is female part of the flower, that is the carpel. So you can see the upper swollen region of the carpel. This is called the stigma. So this upper swollen region of the carpel is called the stigma. This tubular stalk-like part of the carpel, this is called the style. Style. And lower basal, this swollen region is called the ovary. So this is the ovary, right? These three parts taken together, they are forming the carpel. Right? Also, you can make in the center of the ovary, we have is the female gametes or the reproductive cells, which are called the ovules. So this way you can show the ovules also inside the ovary. So let us label the ovules. So this one is the ovule. Ovules are present inside the ovary. Ovary is the female reproductive part of the plant in which ovules, the reproductive cells, the female gametes are present. Similarly, inside the anther, we have is the male gametes present, which are called the pollen grains. So we can show the pollen grains. Pollen grains are yellow colored powdery substance which is present inside the anther. So this way you can show yellow colored part, powdery substance which is present inside the anther. So inside the anther, here you can also label pollen grains. Pollen grains. So this is all about the structure of a typical flower, children. Let me just revise you. This is the stalk of the flower, which is called the pedicel. The upper part of the pedicel, which is little swollen, is called the thalamus. At the base of the flower, we have green colored leaf-like structures. These are called the sepals. Right? Now let us discuss the female and male parts of the flower. So in the center of the flower, we have is the female part of the flower, which is called the carpel. Carpel is having the upper swollen region called the stigma. At the base of the stigma, we have is this tubular region called the style. And at the lowermost region, we have is the swollen structure, which is called the ovary. Ovary is having inside it the ovules, the female gametes. In the male part, we have is the stamen. Stamens may we have the upper part, which is called the anther, and the lower, this part is called the filament. Anther and filament together are forming the stamens. Inside the anther, we have is the yellow powdery substance, which is called the pollen grain. Pollen grains are the male reproductive cells which are present inside the male reproductive organ, that is the stamen. Then we have is the colored part of the flower. These colored part of the flower are called the petals. Function of petals is to attract the insects for pollination. That is all about the structure of a typical flower, children. Thank you.